How'd you feel when you woke up today?
I felt great. I went to church yesterday with Scal and the guy that I trained with, Phil Beckner. We had a good service. It was a good chill Saturday. Got some shots up. A good night of boxing. My boy Bud Crawford got another TKO win. It was a good night of boxing. I had a good night. Watched a few games, so I woke up feeling pretty good. Happy Easter.
Damian, what are you expecting in terms of? I mean, because I think in Game 3 you guys assumed that Denver were going to come out with a lot of energy. Are you expecting kind of the same feel in Game 4?
I'm expecting more of the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why anything would change.
Do you feel that way because it's just the playoffs, or because of the way Game 3 went?
Because it's the playoffs. I mean, it's what's at stake. We took care of home court, and they're trying to do the same thing. We know it's a great opportunity for us to get a win on the road. That would be huge for us. So I think for those reasons, and based off of how last game went, I expect it to not be much different.
What's going to be the key to having a third quarter, taking that third quarter that you had in Game 3 and extending it over 48?
It's difficult to play 4 great quarters. I thought our third quarter was our best quarter. And it's the playoffs. Teams know your offense just as good as you do. They know your personnel. So it makes for a tough game. It's not as much transition. It's a lot more in the half court, so it's a grinded out type of game in the playoffs. So it's hard to play that way for a full game. But I think for us it's just keeping our composure, being smart. On the offensive end, making sure that we run our offense with a good pace. When we're walking the ball up, walking the spots and walking in the screens and doing stuff like that, we easy to guard, especially when they playing as physical as they do. It's easy, it's in their favor. So I think just making sure that our pace is up on the offensive end, and defensively just more of the same. Stay physical, stay aggressive, stay locked into the scouting report, echo the play calls, know what we need to be doing and the spots we need to be, and it should be another competitive game.
You talk about after Game 3, maybe needing to adjust a little bit more in game to how it's being called. At what point do you kind of make that distinction, or can you tell right away where it's like, hey, we might need to pull back a little bit? Or
I mean, I think when you start the game and you're just getting a lot of fouls called on you, I think if that happens, we should be able to look at it and say, okay, for one, we don't need to have a bunch of guys in foul trouble, and 2, we don't need to have them living at the free throw line like they did in the third game. So I think that's what it comes down to, just seeing how the game's being called and make that decision early.